Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you. My name is Gurule. I'm the band director at Bassett Middle School. Today we're going to be going over Etude number 2, G minor for the El Paso Middle School organ music. If you haven't watched the video for Etude number 3 first, I suggest you doing that before you watch this one. It'll help you learn this one a little bit better. Make sure that you have a pencil with you and your music in front of you. And like we talked about in the other video, the most important thing to look at when you're looking at a new piece of music is the time signature and the key signature. So for this etude, the time signature is 6/8, which means there's 6 beats per measure and the 8th note gets the beat. It's gonna be based around a triplet, just like the other etude was, except for we count it a little differently, but the feel is the same. As for the key signature, we have B flats and we have E flats. So every time you see a note on a B line, you're going to play B flat, and every time you see a note on an E line, you're going to play E flat. And before you go on, and before you start looking at the music, let's go ahead and go through the etude and mark all the B's as B flats and all the E's as E flats. Personally, the fingering that I like to use for B flat and the one that I like to teach my students is going to be like you're playing A, so it's your first 2 fingers and your octave key if you're playing the higher version, and this bottom side key down here. That's the best fingering. It's the one that's going to be the most in tune, and it's going to be the one that's going to be the easiest to play most of the time once you learn it. As for E flat, it's just like we're playing D, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna add this top pinky key right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and play the first 2 measures of this etude. It's gonna have the same triplet feel as the first etude, and we're gonna start at 50 beats per minute, just like we did with the last one. Make sure that you're really tapping your foot and you know what the rhythm sounds like before you try to add your fingers, and then once you're comfortable with both of those, then you can try to play along. I'm going to start at 50 beats per minute again, and it's really important that you listen to the last beat that I play. That is the most important rhythm. This is the first 2 measures. And 1, 2, ready, now. We're moving on to measure 3 and 4. It's going to have same thing, a triplet feel, and the same thing. The last beat that we're going to look at in this section is really important that you're paying attention to how the rhythm sounds. The rhythm is the most important thing to get first. It's 50 beats per minute, same thing. And 1, 2, ready, now. Moving on, we're going to do a little bit bigger of a section. We're going to do measure 5 to measure 9. The most important part of this section is making sure that you're getting all the correct fingering. You're also going to use palm key notes in this section. So D is going to be the first palm key, and then E flat is 2 palm keys, and then there's 1 high F, which is going to be all 3 of these palm keys plus this top side key. And this is super important that you have your foundations book next to you so that you can look up these fingerings once you forget them. We're going to do measure 5 to measure 9, 50 beats per minute. And 1, 2, 3. The last section we're going to do is going to be measure 10 to measure 16. The rhythm is just like the rhythms that we had in the section before this. A big important thing in this etude is to make sure that you're using all the dynamics. For this one, on the higher parts, I really like to make them nice and loud and full. And on the lower sections, when it's inside, then your notes are inside the staff, I try to make those a little softer. So this is measure 10 to measure 16. And 1, 2, ready, and then. This is going to be the entire etude, the whole etude of G minor at 50 beats per minute. And 1, 2, ready. This is going to be the entire G minor etude at a little bit faster of a tempo. This is going to be at 60 beats per minute. Just because we're going faster, the piece still starts at piano. So when you speed your music up, make sure that you're not sacrificing the dynamics. Make sure you can still start soft as we play this. And 1, 2, ready. Thank you.